Hey everyone, welcome back to another leveling video. This one is for Bio 4, and basically in order to do this, you're going to want to be level 141 or higher, and that's going to allow you to do the bounty board turn-in quests in Lighthousen. And basically what those are is you go and you pick it up at the board near the Lighthousen tool dealer, and it gives you a turn-in quest for each of these 6 mobs in Bio 4. And it gives, once you do the full turn-ins of 150 kills, you go back and you claim the reward experience for a huge chunk of experience, and you can see that in the sidebar on the left. And the reason you would do this, I guess, to compare it to something else, in Nightmare Clock Tower, it's about the same for your time investment, same experience that is. And the reason you do Bio 4 over Nightmare Clock Tower is that you can pick up a turn-in quest for Bio 4, and you can finish all your counts, and then you can use a battle manual to turn them in, and then you can go back in and do another half hour leveling and pick up another turn-in quest. And by doing that, you'll get 2 turn-ins in 1 battle manual, whereas in Nightmare Clock Tower, if you were to spend the same amount of time as in a full hour, you would use 2 battle manuals. So for the same hour of work, you're only using 1 battle manual to get the same amount of experience. Hopefully that makes sense. So basically it's just more battle manual efficient. And obviously it's best to do this in a party. You're not going to have a very good time soloing this, but it's super easy to do in a good party. So what is a good party? Basically you're going to have your core, which is a maestro. That's going to be a must-have. A wanderer is very helpful. 2 genetics are usually what you're looking to land on. 1 is fine, but 2 is ideal. You'll want 2 archbishops. Again, you can get along with 1, but if your archbishop dies, he's not going to be able to res himself, so it's kind of beneficial to have 2 in that way. And it's just overall easier, you get more healing, everyone's going to last longer. You're also going to want a sorcerer. You have to have one. If you don't have that, you're not going to get going. And the rest of the classes can pretty much be DPS. So with that in mind, I want to go over a little bit of what gear you should be bringing. I'm going to try and keep it general because obviously I'm playing a genetic in this video, but I want to go over what other people might want to be bringing. You'll see I'm using a Wind Unfrozen armor, so you'll either want a Wind armor, an Unfrozen armor, or a Wind Unfrozen, depending on what class you're playing, what you're able to get away with. Some classes like a Ranger might be bringing a White Wing suit, in which they can either be unfrozen or they can be wind element. So you'll probably want to be unfrozen. Wind, you might, I don't know. I really don't know. I can't speak to Ranger, but one of those is what you're going to want to have. And then I also recommend an anti-medium Valk Shield. The Valk Shield part is important because you get a lot of elemental resistance from it, 20%, against most of the things that you're going to be taking damage from here. And then anti-medium because all of the monsters are medium size. Only 4 out of 6 of them are demi-human. So if you don't have an anti-medium, you're better off using a cranial, but anti-medium is going to be applicable to all. Second to last, you'll want a carefree accessory, which is Kaffir Blossom card, or if you can't afford that, Glorious Ring is also good. But if your class requires you to use a certain accessory set, that's going to be up to you to bring. It's going to vary from class to class, but I definitely recommend Kaffir Blossom for survivability. And lastly, for the rest of your gear, you're going to want to bring your DPS gear, or you're going to want to bring a demi-resistant gear like a red palm band or something, whatever headgear you will need. So you'll know based on what class you are, what your headgear is going to be and stuff like that. But think about that when you're trying to balance resistance and survivability with damage. So a couple of tips for having a successful party. A lot of it depends on yourself. So basically, if you don't expect the party to carry you, you're going to be fine, which means you're bringing the right amount of potions, you're bringing SP recovery, you're bringing res tokens in case you die, you're bringing regular white potions to pot up if you're not getting healed enough. And basically, as long as you don't run up and kill yourself, your party's DPS is going to be enough to basically clear any mob that you encounter. If you're organizing the party, make sure that you have the party settings so that loot is shared, but each individual can pick up specific items. That way, people don't get frustrated trying to pick something up and then it just goes to a random person, or somebody's trying to pick something up but they didn't do the damage, so they're not able to pick it up and they're sitting there like trying to pick up items when the rest of the party is like dying. Uh, and then to avoid that, obviously, if your G-winger is winging enough, they're not going to be able to stop and pick up items. But uh, last note on that, most parties do not share experience, but if you can do it if you can. It's not really required. You're mostly in it for the turn-ins. Now, I want to go into each specific role a little bit. For each class, you're probably going to know how to play it, but for Maestro, you can either dual client one or you can have an active one. There's a really big difference between a dual cliented Maestro and an active Maestro, but basically what you're going to want to do is be using magic strings, Ludi, Frigg Song, Impressive Riff if you're feeling like swapping a lot of songs. You can do Windmill Rush, Siren's Voice, Warg Dance, I think. There's a lot of things that you can do if you're active, but if you're kind of alt-tabbed, you can just get away with magic strings. Wanderer is probably the least required class that I mentioned before. Basically, all you need to do is Gypsy's Kiss, but if you want to do other things, feel free. You don't have to contribute DPS. Most parties would probably prefer that you just keep GK up all the time. For Genetic, you're going to want to FCP the party every 10 minutes. Make sure everybody has coat. If people die, try and coat them as quick as you can. It's going to be harder to keep track of since you are a DPS class. And pay attention. Don't die. And if you see like a Gertie, which is the stalker, you're going to want to use iron cannonballs since dark cannonballs are going to miss. And other than that, you don't even have to switch cannonballs, honestly. Like, just don't kill the Gerties and kill everything else. Other classes can focus on that. Next, you have Archbishop, and you want to basically keep up party buffs at a minimum. Heal as frequently as you can. Silentium is really helpful. It will keep mobs from being able to cast abilities, which will increase the party's survivability overall. So really important to have that. And a quick tip, Profatio, which is the group Chirelation spell, it shields for the same amount no matter what level you cast. The only thing that changes is the number of hits that it blocks and the amount of cooldown that you have on it. So the lower the level, the shorter the cooldown. So you could basically be spamming level 1 and you'll get like a 30 or 50% shield on the whole party. And it scales up depending on how many party members you have. But yeah, if you're feeling really ambitious and you want to buff every person individually, you can use the party list to buff everyone with Assumptio. Me personally, I would rather have Odin's power than Assumptio, but that's just me. Sorcerer, you're basically just a Magnetic Earth bot. Just spam Magnetic Earth. That's all I want you to do. Just spam Magnetic Earth. Don't look at anything else. Just look at where the party is and where Magnetic Earth needs to be, and that's the only thing you care about. But if you want to care about something else, you can use Striking on your DPS. Other classes, your DPS classes, all you want to do is not die. That's the most important thing. And then the second most important thing is DPS. And if you're a DPS class, you know what you need to do. That's Rune Knight, Warlock, Ranger, etc. So lastly, if you're not a DPS class or a class I listed above, be a G-Winger. A good G-Winger makes a huge difference. Basically all you do is you make sure that once nothing is on the screen, you just G-Wing and you find another mob. Don't G-Wing when people are dead. Keep an eye on your kill counts. Try and keep it balanced. If you notice that you're low on like minstrels or something, don't G-Wing away from minstrels. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this helps you get an idea of Bio 4 leveling, at least enough to try it out. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will try and get back to you. Thanks for watching.